So, what happens when a church, and a mega church at that, decides to participate in cover up culture? And I mean, a church hears that somebody's saying something about them that they don't want to be said, and it paints them in a bad light. And instead of having tough conversations, instead of embracing accountability, instead of trying to be above reproach, like the Bible says, their response is to try to silence people, to try to shut them up, and to try to cover up the truth. Well, the scenario we're going to talk about today, it looks a lot like that. And we're going to hear from Mike Winger, who recently did a video about Dr. Michael Brown, his scandal in that situation. Mike loves the church. Mike is very biblical in the way that he thinks. And his goal is not to hurt the church, but his goal is to say there's stuff going on in the church that should not happen. Mike is also, if we're long form, Mike in a lot of ways is ultra long form. But when Mike first published this video, he got some pushback from a very large mega church in the DFW area, very well known. One we've talked about many times before. We got a whole playlist because we've had to talk about them so much. That's Mercy Culture Church, led by Heather and Landon Schott. And if you were paying attention to Dr. Michael Brown kind of scandal and situation, you know that they had been in his corner being his rah-rah cheerleaders. They even did a special podcast trying to explain his side of the story and why everybody else was wrong and that he could return to ministry. And they just flat out endorse him. We've talked about that. Mike is breaking down this Dr. Brown situation in the way that only he can. And as a part of that is a part of the discussion about mercy culture. But Mike ran into something insidious. Mike ran into something infuriating. Mike ran into something that looks like cover up culture by a megachurch. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what Mike ran into. You're going to hear from him. You're also going to hear from his response in the days since. Okay. But I want to be very clear what Mike Winger has experienced, SAI and Church Disrupted has experienced multiple times. I know what Mike experienced and what we've experienced, other creators have experienced. So I'm going to come at this from a little bit different angle than Mike. Mike is just experiencing it for the first time happening to him from Mercy Culture. I'm looking at this as I know this is at least the third different creator this has happened with, and this has happened to us multiple times. So to me, it's a pattern. To me, it is a pattern of cover up behavior. And I don't think you can simply say we didn't mean it that way. It was an oversight. And sadly, there are too many big churches and too many ministries that participate in this kind of cover up behavior, and it's just not okay. But let's listen together to Mike sharing his experience with Mercy Culture in this video.
Hey guys, Mike Winger here. This is my official response to Mercy Culture trying to claim several pieces of content, I'm going to show you in a second, from my video dealing with the Dr. Michael Brown situation. This is part of cover-up culture, is claim the video now, and then later, if they did successfully claim it, if I don't fight it, then they can simply flip a switch and the whole video disappears. They can delete it. How do I know? Because Joel Osteen did that to me, and I don't want to let it happen again.
All right, so some people will ask, they'll say, hey, what's the big deal if they're giving you a copyright claim? It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to take the video down. They can use that when they have enough of those. Again, it only takes 3 copyright strikes to shut down a channel, and a channel get deleted. So for creators, we have to be very careful about this kind of stuff. And Mike, he knows this better than most because he's had that happen to him. He had Joel Osteen, I believe was who he just said, who had all those claims that didn't seem like a big deal and then started switching them on to being a bigger deal. And Mike has had to fight this with Joel Osteen. Mike has had to fight this with Benny Hinn. Okay. So again, this isn't just one church. This isn't just one instance. This is just another way that a lot of churches and ministries that are big will abuse something like the copyright system to try to silence people's voices and try to keep people from talking about things that paint them in a bad light or require accountability.
Here is the claim. Here's my video, just pieces of it, and they claimed all these sections, which are fair use, absolute fair use. I will go to court with you, Mercy Culture. You will lose this. And you know, guys, listen, they have already done.
All right. So when you see all that, it's a ton of clips. He actually is going to show here in a minute. That's the same thing they did with us. They were trying to claim as much of the video as possible was their stuff, even in places where it wasn't. But again, what Mike Winger's doing, what we were doing with Mercy Culture very clearly falls into fair use. If you've ever asked Jeff, why do you use the watermark? Why do you speed up the videos? We do all of that because it strengthens your legal case when churches try to silence you. Because just like Mike just said, look, Mercy Culture, if you want to take this any farther, I will take you to court and I will win. This falls within fair use. You'll pay the legal fees. You'll do everything. That may sound really aggressive to you, but that's what we had to do. Because the first couple of times it was like, hey, this may have been an oversight. Could you please take this off? This falls within fair use. We're trying to do our best here. Please do that. And they kept doing it with every single video that we would put out there. So finally, what we had to do the last time was just send them a legal message from an attorney that said, this is an abuse of the copyright system. You're actually breaking the law by abusing the system. We are willing to take you to court if you think this is valid, and we will win. And guess what? Since we did that, we've not had an issue from Mercy Culture. Posted multiple videos after that, did not have an issue. So it may sound aggressive, and you're saying, why is Mike Winger coming out so aggressive? I'm just telling you from experience, if he didn't come out that aggressive this early, this stuff would continue to happen. But also, I know that when we started talking about it publicly, it helped to stop this stuff from happening. So, what is the best answer to cover up culture and cover up behavior? It's sunlight. It's just bringing everything out in the open. Oh, you want to cover that up? And I'll just tell you, ministries and churches, thus, they want to try to cover something up. All that tells me is I need to bring more into the light. I will drop it all in the middle of the front yard, even if it makes me look bad, because there's obviously something that you're trying to hide in those situations. So if this sounds too aggressive to you, I would just say the moves that are being made on the back end to flag these videos this way it's abnormal. It doesn't normally happen. It's an abuse of this copyright system, and it's a very aggressive response that would look to any reasonable person, I think, like a silencing tactic. Even if it's not, even if we're wrong, I think it reasonably looks like that.
And the aggressive stuff already. I'm not just responding with aggression for no reason. I'm taking a strong stance. I will not back down. Mercy Culture, you need to back down. What are they actually copyright claiming? Look, this is my Dr. Michael Brown video that's going to be coming up soon. And they, Mercy Culture, through their company they pay to do this for them, is called Matter. Matter is the company who does this for.
Yeah, he's going to talk about it. Matter does this for a lot of other people, but Matter is who's always doing this with us. This has been our exact same experience. You can look at some of the videos where we've talked about Mercy Culture, and you're going to see a couple of times where I've had to talk about, I've shown these screenshots, and it's Matter. It's the same company that's doing it. But you got to remember, this company is working on the behalf of Mercy Culture. So if they're doing something Mercy Culture doesn't want them to do, they can stop it. For the most part, they're going to be operating under the instructions Mercy Culture and other churches have given them. And it's key to remember, as you hear more about this here in a moment, this is not an isolated incident with Mike Winger. It's happened multiple times with me. It's happened with other creators. So what that means is they know about this stuff, and either that company's still doing it, and in which case Mercy Culture needs to find a new company, or Mercy Culture has not stopped the company from doing it. So it's important to know that this is a pattern.
For other people as well, like say Elevation Church, but this is Mercy Culture. It's their instructions. They're on the hook for this, right? They're claiming all sorts of different sections of my video wherever I've used footage from their video, and they're even claiming sections where I didn't use footage from their video, which to me just seems like someone is being sloppy behind the scenes. Here's a 7-minute section of my video that they're claiming. Let's play it now, and you can see how much of their video did I use.
It's not their content. But what Mike said, trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, was he said they're being sloppy. It looks like somebody's just being sloppy, like they're not looking well at the timestamps. But again, every single time they've done that to us, it's been sloppy. From what I've heard from other creators this has happened to, it's been sloppy. So when you're sloppy like that and claiming pieces of the content that's obviously not yours, and you do it multiple times, you do it well more than 3 times, okay, then to me, that's no longer sloppy, that's intentional. It's not somebody just was sloppy and overlooked this. It's intentional, trying to make it look like your whole video is just replaying their stuff, which would be against copyright law. That wouldn't be okay, right? So again, I think Mike is being overly fair. I think he's being really good faith here. But again, I can come in with a perspective of, Mike, you're not the only one who's experienced this. I've experienced this from them multiple times. So I would just have to say it's not sloppy. It's a pattern. It's a pattern of silencing behavior. And they can say it's not all they want. But what I would say is this reasonably looks like silencing behavior. It would silence people if we didn't fight it. And it's definitely been a pattern.
You handle it the right way. It's nobody else's business. Why bring this to wider attention? Others have said no, it's imperative that the other leaders get involved.
This is where my interview with Ron starts. That section right there, that was a clip from their video, completely fair use. We're offering commentary on it. But they claimed a 7-minute section all the way through 1:37, an hour and 37 minutes into my video.
So they're not just claiming their part, they're claiming a lot more than their part. Again, just trying to bolster their case and scare people.
I just finished writing out my response to them. The way this works on YouTube, when you have these copyright claims I'm showing you on my screen here, they actually send your appeal. When you appeal, you reject the copyright claim, it sends that appeal to the claimant. It doesn't go to YouTube. YouTube's not reviewing what I'm about to say. This is going to go to the claimant, and then they have the opportunity to drop the claim. So here I'm going to read to you guys what I wrote, because part of dealing with cover-up culture is uncovering it. That is the agenda here.
I completely agree with Mike there. I'm glad that he showed this. I've showed some pieces. I didn't show a lot because, I know a lot of you don't care about the YouTube stuff. You don't care about the back end of that. And I struggled with, should I have shown this? And I wish I had actually shown more now that I've realized how many people this has happened to and that it's repeated with us. But again, how do you handle cover up culture? Mike is spot on the nose. You handle cover up culture by exposing it, by bringing sunlight to it. So I'm really glad that he's showing how the back end works. His response is very similar to our response, and it took aggressive responses like that, really bringing all the legal pieces in together and just calling them out and saying, this is not okay, and I'm not going to stand for it. That's what it took to get it stopped with us.
I consider these claims to be an abuse of the copyright system on YouTube, and if you don't drop these claims right now, I will file an official complaint with YouTube about you violating their copyright system. But Mercy Culture has participated in the worst kind of cover-up culture, injuring with deception those already harmed by clergy misconduct. I will fight you in court, and we will not settle out of court so that true justice will happen. I will probably file a counterclaim even if you do drop this, because this is such a terrible abuse of the copyright system in an effort to stifle free speech. Your next contact will be coming from my lawyer. Dispute submitted. This is my official response. No. Mercy Culture, no. You made a video.
And I appreciate how clear he was here. So he gave the legal response through YouTube, but he says, Mercy Culture, you want my response? Here's my official response. No. If I could go back and do it again, I would have done a video similar to this. At the time, I wasn't sure what to do because more people haven't called Mercy Culture out. They continue to do this. And if Mercy Culture says we're not doing it, a company working on their behalf has continued to do it. And both the company and Mercy Culture should know better at this point. They know this has happened before. It has not been corrected. I think the first time this happened to us was back in like February. It's had plenty of time to be corrected. So they can say they're not doing it on purpose, but at this point, it's just kind of, if they're not doing it on purpose, then it's just negligence or laziness.
Gaslighting, manipulating, and adding further abuse onto those who have already been lied about publicly in the past because they stuck their heads up and decided to speak the truth. This is
Now, I love how clear he is there as well. He's not mincing words. This is gaslighting. This is manipulation. This is wrong. Gaslighting, manipulation, it is wrong. Now, he's going to be a lot softer after he talks to some of the guys from Mercy Culture, but I think he did a good job on the front end. I don't think there's anything he said that was wrong. He's doing his best to be good faith. But again, this has been a pattern. And the same thing is with church leaders. When somebody makes one mistake, they do something, it's one thing. When there's a pattern, it becomes a totally different thing, and it takes a much higher level of accountability.
wrong. This is evil. This is sick. Many people have appealed to you. Please take a second look. Please, go back and consider these things. But your self-righteousness is off the scales and you don't care. That seems obvious. So my response to you, no. Take me to court. I don't care. You will lose. I will not be part of your cover-up culture or bow to your silliness.
He says it's evil. It's not okay. A lot of people have asked you to reconsider your stance on Michael Brown. All of that is 100% true. But I love that last part. Look, if I have to take you to court, I will. You'll lose. We said the same thing. But man, it's so powerful to hear Mike say, I will not bow down to cover up culture. We need more creators, but we need more church members. We need more pastors and staff who will say, we will not bow down to cover up culture. Because any moment you bow down to cover up culture, okay, even when you're just trying to get the benefit of the doubt, every time we bow down to cover up culture gets emboldened, and the people who are doing it think they can cover more up. And they do a little bit more because they think they can cover it up until eventually it ends up like a Robert Morris situation where it couldn't be covered up. Or eventually it grows into a Michael Brown situation where it couldn't be covered up. Or eventually it grows into a Ravi Zacharias situation where it couldn't be covered up. Okay. So it is a kindness. It is a loving kindness to say that is cover up culture and we will not bow down to it. I don't care if you meant to or not. This isn't going to fly. Okay. And again, it doesn't seem like a kindness, but it 100% is a loving kindness. But this wasn't the end of the story. Mike actually heard from Mercy Culture. And I appreciate the fact that Mercy Culture had some people reach out to him. The only time we've ever heard a response from them was when we tried to get Landon on the podcast to have a conversation about these things, and they refused. But they reached out to Mike. They told him this wasn't completely intentional. So listen to what he says, but also keep in mind there is a pattern here.
phone with a couple guys from Mercy Culture. This is regarding the copyright stuff over the past couple days. They assure me that they did not intentionally target my video, but that this is just some sort of, this is how their copyright stuff is set up, which is a problem, which I believe they're going.
All right. So he says they told him this wasn't intentional. This is just how their copyright stuff is set up. I love the fact that Mike says yes, but that's a problem. What he's in the middle of saying right there is, I believe they're going to fix it. Here's my problem with believing they're going to fix it. Here's my problem with believing that it's unintentional. They did the same thing with me in May, I believe in April, in February. They've done it for months. Okay. So they've had months to fix it. They haven't just done it with me. They haven't just done it with Mike. They've done it with other creators. They've had months to fix it. So if it was unintentional originally, they've had months to fix it and haven't. So if you know this is happening, it's not what you want and you don't fix it, then at some point it's no longer unintentional. Just because you're not intentionally going in and pressing the button, it's no longer unintentional because you're allowing the system to continue to do it. And you've let that happen for over half of a year. It was the second month of the year when I experienced it the first time. We're sitting in July right now. This is still happening. If they really wanted it fixed, it would have already been fixed. I don't think it was somebody just firing wildly. I think this is intentional. Okay. So, and I'll just tell you guys, for instance, how the copyright system works here. When someone uses clips from our videos, and they do it a lot, okay, it comes up on the back end where you can see, and it says someone used your video. Here's the percentage of the video they used. Here's all the timestamps. You can go look at it. Even though they pick those timestamps and everything else for you, and the system sometimes gets it wrong, you can adjust them, but you have to click the button. Like, I have to go in and click the button and go, no, I want to ask this person to take the video down, or I want to take the audio off, or I want to get part of their money. And you want to know how many times we have used that? Okay, people use our stuff all the time. I've got stuff where people have used 100% of the video. Okay, 100%. Is it wrong? Yeah, it's wrong. But at the same time, they're getting the message out. I really don't care. We have never, goose egg, zero, never used that system. But when it's this idea of yeah, they're telling me it was unintentional, it's a scatter shot, stuff like that. No, they know about it, so it was more intentional than they're letting on, I believe, Mike. But also, somebody's got to press the button, man. Somebody that they're paying is pressing the button, and they're not doing their due diligence, even though they know they've made mistakes in the past. So I appreciate, Mike is trying to put the focus back on his Dr. Michael Brown video, which you need to go watch. Is where the focus needs to be. But at the same time, I think he was right in calling out this cover-up culture.
Thing that moved. That was just the policy. This is a tricky situation, but my encouragement to everybody is just ignore it. The real issue is the video.
And that's the only place that I have disagreed with Mike. Okay. 100% agree. The video is the real issue. This is tricky. I get with all of it. I think it's dangerous for us to ignore this, though. And again, Mike is only dealing with his situation. So what he said, I don't, again, I disagree with it, but I understand why he said it. This has been a pattern. I think it's dangerous for us to ignore it. I think it's important that we acknowledge. I think it's important that the Christian circles, influencer circles, I think it's important that all of you who are listening to me or listening to Mike or listening to others, I think it's important that we acknowledge, okay, this is a pattern. This church keeps doing this. And now we need to mentally file that. I've given a lot of reasons for concern about Mercy Culture Church. And anytime someone comes back and says, well, Jeff, I think you're being too hard on them, you got to go back and look. Okay, well, part of what we're dealing with here is a pattern of silencing, a pattern of abusing the copyright system, a pattern of trying to scare creators. And then not only do they try to scare creators, they make it much harder for creators to make these videos. So every time you guys see me reacting to a video now because of Mercy Culture, that means we've had to go in and edit that video. We've had to edit the speed. We've had to take things out of it. We've had to put this watermark on it. It adds a lot of pressure and it adds a lot of time to being able to react to a video that already fell within fair use laws, because we have to go over and beyond, because the only way to stop them is to say, hey, if we need to go to court, we'll go to court. So we got to be prepared for that, right? So it's important to know this isn't just silencing culture. Look at the burden and the fear they're striking into creators, and the burden that they're putting on creators simply for trying to hold them accountable. Now, maybe they've done this to people who are, clapping and supporting and encouraging their content, but I bet they haven't. I bet if someone was making a video encouraging their content, that it wouldn't be flagged like this. Or if you see one that's been flagged like this, that it's after this video was made. and it's not any time before this video was made. Again, know too much to keep feigning ignorance.
That's the update. That's what's going on right now. I know I came on strong and I still intend that strength, but if I gave the impression that I knew that they were purposely targeting my video, that was just what it looked like to me. But they're saying that they were not. And we may as well give the benefit of the doubt there and say it was accidental, still wrong, but accidental.
And Mike is doing the right thing from his response. I really do, based on what he knows. But Mike, I can't give them the benefit of the doubt because I've already done it. I've already done that multiple times. Other creators have done it. So again, I'll be the one to say this is a pattern. Mercy culture, the stuff you said, yeah, it sounds good. It plays well, but it doesn't line up with your actions and reality. You had months to stop doing this and you're still doing it. Okay. So it's either intentional or negligent. Either way, it's not Christ like. It's not okay. And it is part of silencing and cover up culture.